Who are you? I am a walrus. Well, that is not true. I'm not the walrus. But The Breakfast Club is a movie of five kids in Saturday detention learning who each other are and learning more about themselves. Sounds like a classic teen film to me. I really shouldn't have put this marker in my mouth, but you know what? The cap was on. I'm sure I won't get sick. We all remember that little moment where Brian, for some reason, really thinks he has the right 3,000 word essay, and he's just like, "I am a walrus." Good job, you're a walrus now, Brian. Good for you. Yeah, no. Anyway, Breakfast Club is often considered to be the most popular, basically the best teen film of all time. Usually it's either Breakfast Club or Mean Girls that's claimed to be the best. And I actually like both of those. Breakfast Club, I would say, as far as teen films go, is in second place for me. Number one, obviously, for me is number one for me is Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I love that movie. But I also really like Breakfast Club. It's a really funny movie. And so this is going to be like a little review. You know how it goes. I basically summarize it, sprinkling in my thoughts and feelings of certain stuff as I go along in the summary of the story. You know how I go with this. So let's go. In 3, 2, and 1 to the first section. Alright guys, as far as characters you need to know goes for this particular video, the list is short, not the shortest list. The list is short. First we got, the characters we know is John Bender, played by John Nelson, Andrew Clark, played by Emilio Estevez, Claire Standish, played by Molly Ringwald, Brian Johnson, played by Anthony Michael Hall, Allison Reynolds, played by Ali Sheedy, Richard Vernon, played by Paul Gleason, and finally Carl, played by John, what's that say? Kapelos? I think that says Kapelos. I don't know. Sometimes I can't even read my own handwriting, so yeah, John Kapelos, supposedly. So yeah, that is all the characters you know. I mean, I told you a short list today, so let's get right into the first actual real section in 3, 2, and 1. Alright guys, let's get right into it. Right at the beginning of the film, when we see our five main characters walk into the school for Saturday detentions, all for different reasons, but only one of them we really find out in this very beginning part. Claire obviously having skipped school to go shopping. That's not something I would ever do. I actually don't like shopping. Okay, while I don't like shopping, I do have a favorite store. Surprise, surprise, Barnes and Noble. I just sound like a dork. Anyway, I mean, hey, that's why I say out of the five of the main characters of Breakfast Club, I am most similar to Brian. I relate to the guy. He's my second favorite, Bender being my first favorite for being freaking hilarious, even if he's so inappropriate towards Claire. He's so inappropriate towards Claire. Like, they should not have been dating at the end of the movie. But I'll get into my little piece of, what I don't like about the ending, later when we actually get to the ending. So right off the bat, we see Claire's being driven by her dad. And he's just like, you're not in trouble, you just went shopping, you're not like a defect or whatever. And she's just whatever, like, you can tell she's annoyed. Andy is, Andy is driven by his dad, and his dad's just mad at him for getting caught doing something bad, which we don't actually learn what specifically it was till later. And Brian was driven by his mom, and his little sister accompanied, and she's just like, study in there. And he's just like, we can't study in there. And she's like, study anyway. John, Bender, he just like walks. He walks by himself. He walks there by himself. Allison's dropped off by what looked like both her parents, but when she was about to say bye to them through the car window, they just zoomed off. They zoomed off. Why am I going into such detail about this? It's because it's literally the movie spelling out their home situations before it really, but before the movie even goes into it. Like you already know what their homes, like if you really think about it, you already know like their home situations, minus a couple small details like say like Brian's mental health, or like the Bender having a cigarette burn in his arm. Or, I say cigarette, it's actually a cigar. He said cigar. I was like, cigar burn. Do I stutter? I'll tell you, I was quoting that movie all the way through watching it. Like, I do like it a lot. I think it's hilarious. I just have, like, my complaints with it are just small and more near the end of the film. But, basically, these guys, right in the beginning, like, they don't get along. They all, like, are making assumptions about each other, which are honestly fair. I'm a very judgmental person. I will admit I'm judgmental, and I don't see it as too much a problem. But only because my judgmentalness has managed to keep me away from weirdos a lot. But back to the movie. I'm going off tangents, I know. I do that. I rant a lot. And, basically, we meet the vice principal, assistant principal of the school, Richard Vernon, who Bender calls Dick every now and then, but that could literally be used as a nickname for someone named Richard, so, like, technically speaking, he's not calling you that to be mean, even though he is, but really, he's just, like, saying it as a nickname, because, like, there was a point where it's like, oh wait, sorry, I meant, Rich, pretty sure said that at some point. Bender did, but, yeah. Anyway, Richard's like, Mr. Vernon, he's like, you're gonna be in here for hours. And then he leaves, he's like, door stays open, don't move. And this time we're writing an essay of 1,000 words, which I'll get more into at the very end, because the essay thing is something I don't like when we get to the end of the movie. No, honestly, I'm gonna be honest with you. A lot of this movie is just banter, talking, argument, really dark moment followed up by jokes, that's, and repeat. That's basically, like, what the movie is, like, so it's kind of hard to, like, summarize it. It's hard to summarize it. So I guess, like, the best thing I'd really be able to do is point out key moments as the group starts to become more friends instead of, like, hating on each other for being stereotypes or whatever. Which, I mean, for a movie that's supposed to be about breaking stereotypes, they sure are just the stereotypes at the end of the movie anyway. Just in new relationships, except for poor Brian. He's single and alone. And I feel bad for the guy. Like, you couldn't have added a sixth member, like, member number 6, so that's Brogue wouldn't be alone? Really? Can't do that movie? Brian had to be single, but the others get to hook up? Alright. But, yeah. Basically, this is basically what the movie is. Bender's always just saying the most insane things. Just the most insane things. He'll just be like, sitting around, whatever. And, like, saying the most inappropriate things I can't really say on here, per se. But, does anyway. I hope you did that. Brian's just an awkward little dork. I feel bad. I relate. Sadly. Andy just keeps threatening Bender because Bender won't leave Claire alone. He keeps, basically sexually harassing her. It's basically what he's doing. Most of the movie. Again, why are you guys together by the end of this? I don't care if y'all, like, get along now, like, 8 hours later. The way he treated you is not okay. And he hasn't really apologized for that. He hasn't apologized for that. So, like, as much as I like Bender, being my favorite character in this movie, That's kind of messed up the thing to do, dude. Like, I can only look. The only reason I can really look past the behavior is because he's a fictional character. But if like this was real life, it'd be like, no, 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 no. This is very, very bad. I mean, Jude literally was like, let's go shut the door and get the prom queen impregnated. Like, that is messed up. Like, Bender, I like it, but that is... Stop, just shut up. Listen, Andy, shut up. Yes. So basically, like, Claire, as I just said, prom queen, popular girl. Andy, athlete. Bender, criminal. Brian, dork. Nerdy dork. The brain. I see why the character's name is Brian now. I mean, you just gotta switch 2 letters around to make it Brain. I wonder if I just made a realization. I wonder if that's why they called him Brian, because they're like, hey, you just switched these 2 letters around, it's Brain, it works perfectly. Okay, now I'm gonna have to search that up later. If that's true, like, if the answer's out there in Google, I'm gonna have to find it. And obviously, lastly, Allison is the basket case. She does not talk for a good chunk of the movie, like half the movie. She is zero talking. Like, she's very quiet. I'm gonna be honest. I like all 5 of these characters. They're all fun to watch, but the girls I like a little less. Big surprise there. I know. I'm just, even though I myself am a girl, I don't like other girls usually, I know. Now, with Claire, if you know me, like, the reason why I don't like Claire as much is probably more obvious because she's really feminine and girly or whatever. That's just, I've never gotten along with those types, really. But Allison, though, sometimes Allison just came off as annoying sometimes. Like, when she stole, like, Brian's wallet later in the movie, it was like, Girl, why'd you steal his wallet? Why are you loudly saying for the whole world to hear what his social security number is? What are you doing? There's tiny things she did that were kind of annoying. Also, I'm surprised that, Andy and, Andy, whatever, and Bender were having yet another argument. And, like, Bender took out the switchblade and he stuck in one of the tables. He never noticed that Allison stole it. At this point, this is just becoming a rant video, honestly, but yeah. But like I said, it's hard to summarize this movie when it's practically a constant repeat of different stuff. So really, all you gotta know is that they don't get along first. There's a lot of bickering, this and that, back and forth. And I'll just go on to the next section of this video in 3, 2, and 1. Let's just go on to the next section. I'm done. Just go. Alright, let's talk about the more middle of the movie where a lot of Bender's criminal-esque behavior really comes out, like, and if you notice, like, also, while we're here, if you notice, like across the, like, as the movie goes on, like, the characters just keep taking off all their jackets, and while this is, I guess, supposed to be, like, a symbolism of them, like, taking their guard down or whatever, and starting to get along and not be stereotypical, even though they are at the end anyway, like, well, there's a lot of that, you did notice that because by the end of the movie, Andrew's in, like, just, like, a tank top or whatever, and John had, like, Bender, he had, like, 5 jackets, so he had, like, it's like, half, you're not overheated, I know it's, like, Chicago or whatever, but, like, it's colder there or whatever, but, often cold, and I'm pretty sure it was, like, colder time of the year when the movie took place, but, like, still, got this giant, like, I forget what they're called, but it's the same kind of jacket, like, coat, not jacket, coat, same type of coat that Jason Dean wears in Heathers, like, the same kind, just gray, the light gray, and has a different texture, and, like, then he has a jean jacket beneath, and then beneath that, he has a, he has a red plaid button-up shirt, and then underneath that he has a white shirt, long sleeve shirt. So it's like, why? How are you wearing so many layers? But anyway, the criminal behavior I talk about is, at one point, they actually do get away with a lot of shenanigans. And remember when I mentioned he had a switchblade, I'll pretend to remote to switchblade, he had this, and he was like, he was going on with, like, it was like, with Andrew again, he's, Andrew, he and Andy, like I said, bickering so much, but they wouldn't be what they if Bender would just leave Claire alone. Even if it's funny, being a movie and all, like, and she's supposed to be kind of comedic, like, it's still annoying. The reason why I'm standing up is because, he keeps being like, no, don't test me, man, I'll kill you or whatever, and, like, Andy's just like, oh, yeah, drive me. It's just like, right into the table, it's like, but you wouldn't bother anyway, right? Because, I mean, who in their right minds would want to go to jail, right? right, Bender. So yeah, obviously, like, bringing a switchblade to school to fight criminal behavior, and then going on later, like, when they're when they're like outings, like going out of the library where the detention takes place, Bender is leading them to his locker, and inside is I'm just gonna say drugs. I'm not gonna specify what kind. Just reminder, it is a rated R film. There's drugs in there, and obviously Brian's like the Brian Maynard. He's like, what? The dude has, it did specify what type, but this being YouTube, even if it's clear, I am talking about a rated R film that is not appropriate for the youngsters. I sound like an old person saying youngsters. Basically, go home. Basically, like, no, Bender. Why do you have that in your locker? Oh, sure, Brian gets caught for having a flare gun in his locker. Quiet. I got home from Disney. Annual passes, I don't have one. Like, lost my train of thought, y'all. I lost my train of thought. Believe, shoot, what was I saying? I'm pausing. Alright, let's talk about the more middle of the movie, where a lot of Bender's criminal-esque behavior really comes out, and if you notice, like, also, like, while we're here, if you notice, like across the, like, as the movie goes on, like, the characters just keep taking off all their jackets, and while this is, I guess, supposed to be, like, a symbolism of them, like, taking their guard down or whatever, and getting, starting to get along and not be stereotypical, even though they are at the end anyway, like, well, there's a lot of that, you do notice that because by the end of the movie, Andrew's in, like, just, like, a tank top or whatever, and John had, like, Bender, he had, like, 5 jackets, so he had, like, it's like, half, you're not overheated, I know it's, like, Chicago or whatever, but, like, it's colder there or whatever, but, often cold, and I'm pretty sure it was, like, the colder time of the year when the movie took place, but, like, still, got this giant, like, I forget what they're called, but it's the same kind of jacket, like, coat, not jacket, coat, same type of coat that Jason Dean wears in Heathers, like, the same kind, just gray, the light gray, and has a different texture, and, like, then he has a jean jacket beneath, and then beneath that, he has a red plaid button-up shirt, and then underneath that he has a white shirt, long sleeve shirt. So it's like, why? How are you wearing so many layers? But anyway, the criminal behavior I talk about is, At one point, they actually do get away with a lot of shenanigans. And remember when I mentioned he had the Switchblade, I'll pretend the remote's a Switchblade. He had this and he was like, he was going on with like, it was like, with Andrew again, he's, Andrew, he and Andy, like I said, bickering so much. But they wouldn't be, would they, if Bender would just leave Claire alone. Even if it's funny, being a movie and all. Like, and she was supposed to be kind of comedic. Like, it's still annoying. The reason why I'm standing up is because, he keeps being like, no, don't test me, man. I'll kill you or whatever. And, like, Andy's just like, oh, yeah, drive me. It's just like, right into the table, It's like, but you wouldn't bother anyway, right? Because, I mean, who in their right minds would want to go to jail? Right? Right, Bender? So yeah, obviously, like, bringing a Switchblade to school to fight criminal behavior, and then going on later, like, when they're when they're, like, outings, like, going out of the library where the detention takes place, Bender is leading them to his locker. And inside is, I'm just gonna say drugs. I'm not gonna specify what kind. Just reminder, it is a rated R film. There's drugs in there, and obviously Brian's like, the Brian made nerd. He's like, what? The dude has, it did specify what type, but this being YouTube, even if it's clear, I am talking about a rated R film that is not appropriate for the youngsters. I sound like an old person saying youngsters. Basically, they're home. Basically, like, no, Bender. Why do you have that in your locker? Oh, sure, Brian gets caught for having a flare gun in his locker. Quiet. They got home from Disney. Annual passes, I don't have one. Like, lost my train of thought, y'all. I lost my train of thought. Believe, shoot, what was I saying? I'm pausing. Alright, now that we're at the final act, basically at this point, like, they are kind of getting closer, and at this point, we know why Claire's there. She skipped school to go shopping. We know why Bender's there. He pulled the fire alarm. Which apparently gets you Saturday detention. Look, I've had like kids pull the fire alarm when it wasn't needed before. Like, I've seen that before, in both in elementary school and I think once in high school. And I assure you, those kids weren't getting detention. They just got talked. The elementary school kid got talking to from the firefighters who came, and then I'm pretty sure the high school kid, well, maybe he got, like, suspended or just in trouble or something. I don't actually know what happened to that kid, but I doubt it was something as big of a punishment as Saturday detention. What a waste of Saturday. Yes, and then Allison, I guess, is just there because she has nothing better to do, or at least that's the most explanation we get. And then, so that leaves us with only two that we don't really know why they're there. Like, we know Andrew messed up on something, but we never actually hear specifically what he did. All we really hear is his dad being like, hey, guys, screw around, it's just you got caught. And it's like, what was he doing? We don't learn that till more near the end. And Brian, what the heck are you doing here? You're this stand-up sis, I do. What did Bender say? Parents' wet dream. Which is a weird term when you add wet into it. So let's just say you're a parent's dream. You are, like, the poster child of, like, what parents want. Or at least, as far as your grades say. Like, I mean, I don't know, I just, like, honestly, like, I don't think any parent would want their child to not be able to socialize, you know, because that guy's so socially awkward. Like, I would hope that, like, parents would want to help their kids as much with, knowing how to function in society for socialization goes, or just, I mean, obviously you want in general, but also socialization, but I'm going off on a weird tangent here. I'm going off on a lot of weird tangents often. I know you guys, I'm sure you guys, like, trying to stick with me on the, just try to stick with me here. Basically the 5 of them are hanging out and stuff, and there's this, like, thing that so before I get into exactly what Andy and Brian did to get into detention, we're gonna talk about Claire and the fact that she doesn't want anyone to know she doesn't sleep around or something. Allison makes up this insane story of how she's I guess addicted to sleeping around. I don't know. I'm not exactly what the term she specifically said is, and I don't know if I can say it on YouTube. So I'm just gonna hope you guys will know exactly what I mean by, like, she told him when she says, I told my shrink, and then, like, I paid him for not I paid him, he paid me for, you know, and, but, like, he's married, and I think he has kids, and, basically he paid me for, you know, you know, we're talking about, like, virginity stuff, right? You go piece it together, right? No, I don't know, but, like, I don't know what I could say. Like, I feel like there's flexibility with what you could say on YouTube, depending on your audience, or what exactly you're talking about. Like, obviously, if I'm just like talking about the plot of a rated R film, which you can do on YouTube, like, surely I should get some leeway for, like, how in detail I get about the plot being, even though it's rated R, being inappropriate for younger children. And, like, I don't know, man, it's like, I would, I would hope no one who's too young to watch Breakfast Club is clicking on this video. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, but, basically, with that insane story, Allison finally gets Claire to be like, I don't sleep around, I've never done that, you know, I'm not even had sex, whatever, and, like, it's honestly though, it's like, why is it so important to you guys? It's like, you know, they're trying to, like, make it out to be like, oh, you know, it's just a simple question, why are you being so private about it? But it's like, oh, when Brian earlier in the movie was like, hey, look, I just don't want anyone to know I'm a virgin, I'm embarrassed about it, like, you guys will more or less respect that. But, like, when Claire doesn't want to talk about her romantic life, as far as that goes, like, you guys are just like, just spill the tea, sister. Like, I don't get it. I don't get it. Like, it's kind of, like, you know, the smaller thing. One of the things I have more complaint towards in this movie is this, like, what is this? Their insane obsession with whether or not she's been laid. Like, come on, guys, come on, next butt bites. Basically, during this whole conversation, this is a really long scene, honestly, like, basically, Andrew finally tells the story of why he's here in Saturday detention despite being a model athlete on the wrestling team, aka that sport where guys just roll around on the floor with other guys. Hey, not me that said it, Bender said it first. Okay, I shared that. No disrespect to wrestling, it's just funny to hear it described that way. It's like, oh, and I have such deep admiration for guys who are all on the floor with other guys. Like, that's kind of what it is. It's funny when Bender describes it and, I mean, even then, though, like, there are women who wrestle, like, in professional wrestling, so what about women who are on the floor with other women? Oh, Bender, how do you talk about that? But yeah, and, like, basically what Andrew did was he's, stressed out because his dad's like, get me number one. Or you're moving out. I'm kicking you out of the house if you don't get first place in every, I don't know, tournament. Or do you have wrestling tournaments at that school? I don't know. Isn't it even called tournament? Look, I haven't watched wrestling since I was a little kid. I mean, when I was a little kid, I would watch WWE with my dad. Like, I don't know. I don't even think he watches it now. He doesn't have time to, I guess, but... Like, I don't remember how it works. Like, I think there's, like, tournaments, and in those tournaments are matches. But, I don't know. I don't know for sure, but... Basically, he's, like, feeling the stress of, like, the pressure that's putting on him for, like, you have to be top best, yes. He looks over this little, this little thin, weak dude, Larry or whatever. The kid, whatever the heck that kid's name was, Larry? I don't know. And he, and, he's taping up his leg, I guess. The wrestlers put tape on some type of tape on the leg, and what he does is he wraps up this dude's ass. Now they said it with not the same words as I did, but I'd rather not say what they said, even though what I said's more inappropriate. I don't want to say what they said because it makes me picture weird things. Whereas if I just say ass, I just whatever. My brain is saved. It's saved. Picturing things I don't want to picture because of the weird word choice. So yeah, and then like while he's telling this story, basically Vernon, like I said, he's kind of like I said earlier in the video, he like at one point he's looking through confidential files of students or whatever. Like, dear niece, history of slight mental illness. No wonder that guy's so effed up. Or whatever. Yeah, she does say that. And I'm assuming students, because why would he look at the teacher records when it's the students he seems to have a war against the whole time? And after Carl walks in, they're having this whole conversation and stuff, and like, eventually, Carl, he tries to get Vernon to see the perspective of the kids, it's like, hey, it's not the kids are changed, you say they like, get more and more arrogant every year. It's not them that changed, it's you. You're like a 50-year-old man. It's you that changed. It's, even if you try to be friendly with them, the kids are gonna see you as weird anyways, let's be honest. Like, there's just, like, I mean, when you're a teacher, because there's really no winning all your students over, to be honest. Now that this guy has students, not like that. I mean, there are students he has to look over, but he doesn't have, like, a classroom of his own, so he doesn't get to be as close to his students, even though, to be honest, teachers shouldn't be too close to their students anyway. That's a whole nother conversation. So basically, like, they're just talking in the basement, just chilling, Then we don't see him again until like the very end when he gets the essay that Brian wrote for everyone. I'll get back more on that later because I'll get it on that in the finale. Basically, back up to the kids talking. We learn why Brian is in Saturday detention. Oh, and I'm telling you, every time I watch this scene, I wouldn't say I feel like crying. Like, I don't really cry during movies. I have to have like an extreme emotional attachment to the character, and the character has to freaking die. Too, it's just I don't really cry that often. The first time I've ever cried during a movie was when I was like 9 years old and I first watched Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix and Sirius Black got killed. Like, I was just like, like, I was crying for like 30 minutes because I looked at this 9-year-old kid and my dad was just like, oh my gosh, it's a movie, stop crying. But, honestly, it makes me sad hearing the story. I mean, at least I'm like in Dead Poet Society, which check out that video if you haven't. Like, whereas Neil Perry literally dies, at least Brian's still around, right? So it's slightly less sad. Just slightly less sad. just a serious video sad. And I sound like a crazy person rambling about something I haven't even actually said yet, unless you know what I'm talking about, you have seen Breakfast Club. I mean, honestly, I would hope you guys have seen Breakfast Club before watching this, because tits is up. My videos are like my film videos review. It's basically spoiler upon spoiler. I'm just like basically like summarizing the plot best I can. Like, you know, this is unscripted, of course. Like basically summarizing the plot, and then I was sprinkling in my thoughts and feelings. I was like, basically Brian, he brought a flare gun this way out in his locker, and he mentioned this, or before this, he mentioned a elephant lamp or something, and you know, he made it fine, but then when it came time for it to actually turn on or whatever, the light didn't turn on. So he got his first ever bad grade. Oh no, whatever will he didn't seriously do, like there's like those honor students. Like, okay, I'm ready to make a joke. Okay, I'm making my. I don't feel too good, so I gotta make this joke real quick. You know, no more like happy vibes. Just for a second before we get into the serious stuff. But like, there's literally like this like modern day honor students who get like who like get their test back. Like there'll be like the normal kid who gets like, I don't know, like a 68, and they're like, and then their stars kid's like a 98, not a 198, 2 points beneath 100. Oh my life's over. It's like, it's a 98. That is an excellent grade. Calm your ass down, please. I feel like I'm one of the only like honors level students that wouldn't freak out at like such a high grade anyway. I actually am honors in ELA. I am very gifted in ELA. I'm terrible at math, though. Don't ever ask me for math, for like help with math. I take a second knowing what to say for 13 plus 12 or something. Actually, wait, what is 13 plus 12? Is this 10? Okay, go ahead. Shut up. So basically, Brian, back on course, Brian, he basically, he's like, you know, like, I can't have an F, even if I get all good grades for the rest of the semester. I'm still only a B student. My parents can't have that. And basically, and they're like, so what'd you have a flare gun for, Brian? Come on, what'd you have a flare gun for, Brian? Please tell us. And he's like, basically, he's like, I'm thinking about my options, guys. Like, you can, I don't really want to say it flat out, not just because I don't know if I really can on YouTube. Yeah, I'm sure I can. I've seen other YouTubers, you know, but I also don't want to say it. I can be pretty sensitive to the topic, to be honest. I can be. Like, I have to be in a certain mood, and having just watched the movie, I'm not in the mood, like. But yeah, well, to hear about the topic without being at least a little, whatever inside. Basically, you know, they cheer him up. You know, they cheer up as any normal person would upon hearing that a person dislikes themselves so much and is, you know, in such emotional mental anguish that they want to, you know what? Here's the term I can say: Kermit suicide. Sewer slide. Yeah, Kermit sewer slide. That's the term I could say, right? I'm making assumptions here. We've all seen, you know, Kermit the Frog memes. Great, now I'm just gonna laugh because I do actually find that meme darkly funny. I do like dark humor, but I do know when to take stuff seriously, of course. I mean, you did just see me struggle talking about a fictional dude in a fictional movie having well, I was gonna say fictional problems, so those problems are very real, but in his case, it's in a fictional movie, so I guess the problems happening to him are fictional in his case, but like obviously there could be people in real life could go through a similar thing. You know, like, you know, parents with the grades stuff. Like, I'm just gonna go to finale. I don't know what else to say. This is really a rant video, isn't it? Alright, the finale. All the guys are friends. I say guys like as if there aren't two girls in this friend group. But you know, I'm just saying guys as a general term. You know, Andy and Allison are together, which had been elaborated upon throughout. Because you know, Allison's like, I'm gonna run away at some point, and Brian's just like, ah. Could you imagine finding your home life instead? Like Brian trying to be edgy is hilarious. They're trying to be like uncaring, edgy dude or whatever. I don't know what bro is going for, like through a good chunk of this movie. But anyway, but then Andy, you know, and then when Allison starts off, Andy's like, I'm gonna look after her, and then Allison's like, you know, Allison keeps saying like, oh, dude, you have problems. You listen to what everything says, and argument, and that's the drill. Like, Allison and Andy are together. Bender and Claire are together. I like Bender and all. He's hilarious. My favorite character in this movie, but they should not be together. It just, but the way he treated her, no. And then Brian's all loaded. What makes it even worse is that, like, oh sure, the press nerd's gonna be alone at the end, really? What makes it worse is that you're making her write the essay for you guys right after we had this whole, like, movie about, like, making out stereotypes and seeing people for who they really are and not just, like, what social club they're in or whatever. And they're just like, write the essay for us, nerd. Here you go. I don't have paper near me. I was gonna, like, grab paper, throw it, be like, write the paper for us, nerd. It's like people, it's back when I went to, like, you know, actual school. I went online schooling, you know. But it's like when I went to actual school and I was just, and everyone was just like, to get a work for us. Like, I remember in elementary school, there's this girl, I'm not gonna say her name, but like, there's this girl who always wanted to be my partner because I was really good at the work, and then I'd practically be doing all the work. It's like, I work for someone else for a change. This girl always wanted to work with me. As you can see, you see why I'm relating to Brian, right? Like, you know, it's like, I don't want to do the work for you people. All because I'm smart doesn't mean I actually wanted to do all the work for you guys. This is going to be a partner thing, and granted, I don't actually like partner work in school. I prefer solo work. In the past, I've actually requested to do a partner thing on my own. So, yeah. Because it's easy to, especially if it involves creativity, because, you know, I want to use my ideas. I you know, and I already have it all planned out in my head, and then, like, I have to compromise with people. No, I don't do it by myself then, y'all. I'll do it by myself. You know? And, like, but anyway, where was I talking about? Oh, right, the ending. Yeah. They're all friends. They go outside at the end of the tension. Allison and Andy kiss and leave in their respective cars with their friends. Claire and Bender kiss for way too long on the hood of her dad's car. Like, could you imagine if you're the dad and you're like, and you kind of pick her up, but then you gotta pick up your daughter, and your daughter's just like sitting on the hood of your car making out with some, like, homeless looking dude. And not that that's, like, genuinely bad, but, you know, in the dad's perspective, he just getting to pick up his daughter from Saturday detention. Like, how would you find someone to date inside her detention so fast? Like, and also, like, knowing Claire before the movie's finale, it's, you know, like, it'd be like, well, that's not really the type you usually date, huh? Well, who's that guy? Why are y'all making out on the hood of my car? Like, You know, but like I do. Okay, as much as I don't like that they're together at the end, given how he treated her, I do think it's kind of sweet that she gives him one of her diamond earrings, and he puts it on, and now people are gonna. You know, I can't say it. I can't say it. I was gonna make it like a joke, a kind of edgy joke, but I'm not gonna. Never mind. Yeah, I'm not. I'm not. I might come off as offensive if I make this joke, even though it's only a joke. That was I was gonna say, but you might be able to figure out anyway what I wanted to say. But basically, yeah. Movie means, you know, break down stereotypes. There's stereotypes at the end of it. Why does Allison have to get a makeover? Like, makeover, like, you just, like, what'd you do to, like, what, I guess, what, I mean, I don't think she's, like, the coolest character in the movie or whatever, I've seen, like, people be like, oh, yeah, sure, give the coolest character in the movie a little princess makeover. It's like, no, exactly, bro, what was wrong with what she looked like before? Why did she got it? And then Andrew's is like, wow, you look prettier now, and so I'm like, it's basically what it's saying when he's like, when she's like, is it good that my hair's out of my eyes? And like, you know, he's just like, yeah, that's good. Just let her be herself. I mean, yeah, she could be a little more hygienic, but you know, a little more hygiene could be used here, but like, come on, man, come on. And like, yeah, basically, I guess that's kind of the finale, you know, like, they're all friends now. Maybe they'll talk in school, who knows. Before I finish out this one, I'm just speaking of hair in the eyes, like in elementary school, my hair, this is literally how my hair was, alright, it was always in my eye. And then like the few times in school where I would like, you know, brush back my hair, the you know, where the side is showing, so the side is showing, like the teacher would be like, wow, Anna, you have a second eye. Like, yeah. Nope. No. But yeah. I had really long bangs, and my hair was short for like a good chunk of my childhood. I'm never having short hair again. It was a nightmare when I came to the other kids. I mean, you know, short hair, girl. You can imagine what the other kids were bullying me about, as far as that goes. But obviously the reason I had short hair was I have no pain tolerance, and combing my hair back then was painful. I didn't want to comb my hair, so my parents' solution was, oh, just keep it really short, like, you know, like, yeah, you know, like yeah, I did by middle school. I had like a bob, and now I have really long hair. But what is this tangent? Let's just go to my final thoughts. Alright, final thoughts. Good movie. Really, really funny, you know. Good characters. I'm not gonna go over my little, pretty much little problems with the movie because I already did. I went off on whole tangents. You basically know what I think, but like, yeah, the storyline's okay. Like, honestly, it's, you know, you might as well say it's really good considering they somehow made a movie about Saturday detention. Really fun. And I know it's kind of all over the place with this one, but I don't know. But yeah, my score out of 10, I'd probably say 8 out of 10. You know, 8 out of 10. Yeah, that works. I already said why. So yeah, I'll see you guys in another video. It's late. Alright. Bye.